Good morning everyone. In this short video I will speak in a fast way about my thesis proposal starting from the year 2026 on, because practically all the topics are long research activity that last for many years. In the slide you have my website here in green. If you need more information about the thesis, you can contact me directly using Telegram, LinkedIn, email, as you prefer, and we can also set up a call. So I try to be fast. So one of my main important research topic is Wi-Fi, but in particular we apply to Wi-Fi machine learning algorithms. In this context, in the past, we acquire a dataset, a big dataset that is composed on many conditions, but basically we send a packet, a data packet to the access point. The access point automatically sends back an acknowledged packet in order to notify the reception of this data packet, and here from our PC, our wireless station, we log some feature. For instance, the time where the packet is sent, the time where the packet is received, if the packet is lost, 0, or is actually received, and some other quantity, for instance the RSSI or similar. Given this dataset, we pass this dataset on a different machine learning model, from the basic MLP to LSTM, bidirectional LSTM. Currently we are trying a new model that is named liquid neural networks, and so on, and we predict different quantity with different degree of complexity. We can predict the latency of the future exchange, if the next packet arrive or not, the characteristics of the channel that then are used inside the equipment, the Wi-Fi equipment, in order to optimize the communication. For instance, in the case of industrial network, where we have a robot that must be used by a wireless connection. All this part is not at the end related to communication, so there is no need of a background related to communication, and typically we use Python with the common machine learning algorithms. Regarding this aspect, I have a really interesting thesis, even if it's a big work, on which we want to propose and to try and practice a new machine learning algorithms that is used for time series prediction. So basically what we want here in this context, given the past we want to predict the future, there are some common algorithms. Some of these algorithms are also proposed and invented by our research group. I have an idea to a new possible research machine learning algorithms to predict time series. And so in this case there is a part not too big to implement these new machine learning algorithms in Python. And then, given some datasets that are common in literature, so not related to Wi-Fi, we compare our algorithms with the most common method, LSTM, liquid neural networks, GRU, and so on. And I think this is a really interesting work. Also related to the context of Wi-Fi, we have a research to manage is called network digital twin, on which the data of the networks are collected on a central node or on a distributed node, and typically a central node, and this central node communicate to the station of the network in order to optimize some things related to the communication. For instance, in the new Wi-Fi device there is a new feature that is named MLO, multi-link operation, and you will see that the new device has 2 interfaces or 3 that can be used at the same time. And for instance, in this case, in this context, we are trying to manage algorithms like this one, where at the beginning I have the 2 interface of this station, this moving station that are attached to the first access point. Then when I need to perform the handover, we start the handover with the first interface and then with the second interface. This way I'm sure that my station is always connected to the access point and it can communicate. For instance, you can imagine a robot that moves in a space, and the robot must be connected to the central controller for communication, and using this trick you can obtain this improvement in terms of latency and reliability of the communication. Again, it's not all this work is not related to only the Wi-Fi protocol, but are typically works related to computer science. We have different possible works, some on real devices. In this case, you need to go into our laboratories, and typically you will use C programming language. For all the other work I explain, you can decide to do it in our laboratories, or if you prefer, directly from home, or using online meeting. Otherwise, we have some other theoretical approach, some based on a specific network simulator that is really important, is named NS3. This simulator is written on C++, or on some of our specific programs that we did that are made in Python. And I think that also in this case there are a lot of interesting research works, because they are really hot topics. Then I want to expose to you another interesting, I think, thesis about the so-called eQR code. The eQR code is a technology that is invented by us. So we are the only research group that did these things, and in this case the idea is to place inside a QR code, a normal QR code, what? A program. So normally the QR code contains a link, a URL. When you use the QR code, you are redirected on a server that manages the interaction with the user. But in some situation, for instance in mountains, or in caves, or in emergency, so you have fire, but also in some situation like restaurant, inside an old building, you have not the connection, so you have not the ability to connect to the QR code and being redirected to the server. So in our case we have a big research activity on which, starting from a program, we perform all the compilation step, and we place inside the QR code the binary of what we want to execute. So in this case we have a different degree of thesis with different requirements. First of all, some theses related to the proposition of new languages with given characteristics to place inside the QR code. Otherwise, to build specific Android application. I'm not an expert of Android. I'm more an expert of formal language and compilers. I'm a teacher, one of the teachers of the formal language and compiler course of Politecnico di Torino. And another idea I have is to place some instruction in order to modify the behavior of a large language model. But we have really a lot of theses. So if okay, this is my web page, but if you go here, GitHub, eQR code QR3, here you have an example of a possible thesis. So here you have all the code that you can download and compile. But if I open the example directory, the idea is this one. So in this case we code a decision tree. So you see that we have some simple instruction, the input instruction, based on my response yes or no, I take a branch of this if. Do you prefer a lake or a pine forest? If I write lake, there is the printing of a message and the exit of the code. This is a thesis I did a couple of years ago. Then this high-level language, this high-level language is transformed on an intermediate language, this one, which you see is like a sort of assembler. Note that it is interesting that in this case you have many possible languages that can be transformed on the same assembler. It is a way to abstract the language. Then the assembler is transformed in binary, and the binary is transformed here in this eQR code, and that contains the program I show you. So if you browse with my app this QR code, the cell phone asks execute the program that is coded inside this QR code. This is only a small example. We have really many ideas, many things to do, and so on. Again, here the programming language is Python. Is Python for these two. And here you need to use Android Studio and Kotlin or whatever you prefer. Finally, there is also some thesis related to TSCH, time slot channel hopping. This is a protocol for wireless sensor networks. In this case, the main target of wireless sensor network is that they must be in execution for more than 10 years because they need to consume less current. So in this case our target is to try to consume as small amount of energy as possible. In this context we have our simulator that is named TSCH Modeler, that was made by us, so we have the full control of the code. And again, here the idea is to implement techniques to estimate the traffic load and use these techniques in order to reduce power consumption by switching off the node if there is not planned transmission. Some of these techniques that are, I think, interesting can be also applied in the context of Wi-Fi. Last things about the QR code, why we need to have different language with different optimization, because the real limitation of QR code technology is that inside the QR code you can place a maximum of 3 kilobytes. That is not too much, but is not so is not a big amount of possible storing. Regarding the thesis, my idea is that a thesis has a durations of 6 months, that typically it arrived to 7 months because the last month is from when you declare the finish of the thesis to when you have the real discussion, but not more. So the idea is that you need to finish the thesis in this amount of time. Typically, I prefer that you have not more than 2 remaining exams, but it's not a problem. But actually, if you have 6 exams, the idea is that you have to increase a little bit the duration of the thesis. And typically, I like people with a good average related to the past exam. Actually, atypical in the sense that if you are motivated and so on, and there is a why you have not a good average, for me is for sure not a problem. In my website, you see there are a lot of things, but you have this page about publications, and you see you can see all my publications related to journal and related to conference here about more or less themes that are similar to the one I explained to you now. The idea of all these theses are all theses about research, so in the years, because it takes time, in the year after the thesis, my idea is to produce about your thesis a scientific paper that, depending on the quality of your thesis, it can be not submitted, or submitted in a conference, or submitted in a journal. Okay, remember, thank you very much. Remember, for any question, do not hesitate to contact me. I hope to work with you in the near future. Bye bye.